G'day, Shane here. It's Wednesday, 29th of January 2025, which marks the start of week 92 of my piano journey. As I usually do, I'm going to look back at week 91, and I've got my trusty schedule here, not that I really need it. There was only 3 practice sessions last week. Technically, I had a lesson on the Wednesday, so I suppose you could say that over the last week I've had 4 sort of sessions, as it were, but only 3 of them were actually practices, and that's for a total of about 1 hour 45 minutes. 2 of those sessions were a bit truncated. Time's been at a bit of a premium over the last week, but not to worry, I'm still on holiday, so that's all good. How did the practices go? Well, I thought it actually went pretty well. I got a new piece at the lesson at the start of the week, and I spent the first practice session after that, essentially devoted it to that, and it was about 45 minutes. And I thought that it went well. And the following day, I actually had my first run through of the first 2 lines of that piece, which were error-free, essentially. So I thought that was good. And by the end of the week, as in the last practice session, I'd made my way through to the end of the actual piece. So I think it's progressing reasonably well. It's early days on it. I'm focusing on trying to get the rhythm right, so I'm not too worried about the dynamics. Having the right hand, I think the right hand's got to be softer than the left hand in this case. Or maybe it's the other way around. Doesn't really matter. I'm not really worried about what I've got to do with that front yet. I'm just worried about trying to get the notes in the right order and the right timing, and that's the bit that I had the good run through with. So more to do on that before I can move on to dealing with the dynamics. The other 2 pieces, Song of the Pine Tree and Caprice. I always get that wrong. I don't know why I get that wrong. Anyway, Caprice. They're coming along well. Had some good run-throughs of those as well. So I guess we'll see if that streak continues. I'll record my practice session today in lieu of the lesson and put that up. And with a bit of luck, we'll get some good run-throughs again today. Following this, I'll continue what I started last week, and I'll put up a list of the current resources that I'm currently working with. For any of you who this is your first entry into Shane's piano journey. You can see what pieces I'm learning, what books they're from, learn a little bit about Jane and her Accelerator Piano website. So there's also details in the description below. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to get on and do the practice. Right, this is my new resources section, and I'm going to briefly go through the resources that I use. The details will be below in the description as well. So first up is this book here. This is Piano Time Classics by Pauline Hall. Pauline Hall is one of Jane's favourite sort of music providers, authors, and I've used a couple of her books in the past, and she also has some jazz ones. But this one is Piano Time Classics, and I am currently playing the piece Caprice from this book. Now, the new piece that Jane's going to give me is called Theme from Unfinished Symphony, and that is also in this book. The next book is this one here, which is an ABRSM book, and it's called Finger Jogging Boogie, and it's for grades 1 to 3, and it has the piece in it called Song of the Pine Tree, which I'm currently working on as well. So that's that book there. Those are all of the pieces that I'm currently learning. I also use this book here for my sight reading. It's another ABRSM book, and it's the grade 2 piano specimen sight reading tests. Now, there's a whole variety of these that go up various levels, but the idea here is that they have basically 4-bar sections like that, and you just basically pick one of these at random. There's 50 something of them in here, and you play it. And for those of you who've never done sight reading before, basically this is a way of essentially building up your reading skills. And in an exam, if you were ever to do one, you'd be given, the instructor would basically pick one of these pieces at random. You'd have about 30 seconds to look at it, and then you'd be expected to play it, and then they'll grade you on that. So there's no sort of practice ahead of time or anything like that. It's into it, play it, get a mark. and it's that quick really. So it teaches you to look for patterns, try to figure out how you're going to play it, and mash the hands together, etc. So an interesting process. The other resource I use is scale charts. So these are essentially just these scales with the notes that are different than normal highlighted. It just makes it a bit easier as I'm learning to play those. These are available from Jane's Accelerando Piano website. And I'll put some details around that below. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So that's the end of the sort of physical resources, as it were. The other key resource that I have is obviously Jane, a teacher. And I can't tell you just how useful having a teacher actually is. I don't know how I'd be going if I was trying to learn on my own, because I wouldn't know what pieces to pick, etc. I wouldn't know what grade I'm at any particular point in time. You have to sort of try and evaluate that. And obviously it's a matter of whether you can afford a teacher or not. But if you can, I'd certainly suggest that you try to find a teacher, either locally or online. Jane teaches online. Time zones might be an issue if you are not in New Zealand, but I'll put some details below. She does have quite a waiting list, so if you think you might want to learn from someone like Jane, you probably want to get on her waiting list sooner rather than later. But one of the things that a teacher really does is they look at how you're progressing, and they try to identify gaps in your knowledge and your skill set for where you should be at that particular point on your journey, and then they try to fill it. So for example, the piece that Jane's going to be giving me today, the Unfinished Symphony, is one that's actually going to really work my left hand. So it swaps the melody from being on the right hand into the left hand, so that I can start to get some practice doing that, because I haven't done that before. That's something I would never have thought of to do had I been trying to teach myself. So it's those kinds of sort of insights that a good teacher will help you figure your way through and sort of really help you progress. So can't recommend a teacher enough, and the best one ever, although I'm a bit biased because I'm married to her, is Jane Trotter. So take a look at her website. You'll see that there's plenty of other people there, that dozens and dozens of people that have left testimonials that also think she's the bee's knees. So you can check that out. Now, the other thing that Jane also has is a YouTube channel and a supporting website called Accelerando Piano. And Accelerando Piano is where she puts up short tutorial type videos. When I say short, they're not 30-second type things. They're 5 to 10 minute type tutorials, and these are primarily aimed to support her students. Although she's made them public, so everyone in the world can have a look at them and use them. And what she does is, if you go onto a waiting list, if you're on a waiting list, she'll be sending a link out to people that says, here are some of the videos you should probably start to look at that sort of, if you want to learn on your own a little bit while you're waiting on a spot, try these ones here, etc. And there's some key ones there on how to set up your environment so that you don't get yourself injured. And certainly worth taking a look at those. And if you are, if you have a teacher, then you may well be able to find some supplementary resources on Jane's website that supplement what you're already learning from your own teacher. And if you currently don't have a teacher, then you might be able to find some things there that sort of also help you on your way. It's not lessons as such. It's not going to teach you how to play a piece, but it will teach you things like how to play scales, how to sit properly, things that you possibly haven't really sort of thought about. I think the last one she's done, and I'm not sure what's up yet, is how to make sure you're relaxing when you're playing chords. I think it's called "Don't Death Grip Your Chords" or something like that. So there's sort of a variety of things like that. Definitely worth a look. And on each one of those, well, not each one, but most of those tutorials also have a supplementary resource, and that's where these come in. So the scales tutorials that teach you how to play these scales and tell you the tricks about what fingers to move where, etc. Also have sheets available for download, and they're on her website under the resources page, and you can access those there. And that's what I've done here. I've just printed those out, laminated them so that I can flip them over and they don't sort of get crumpled, etc. So that's the other resources that I use. Can't highly recommend a teacher enough. So there you go. And I'll update this resources section as the books, etc. change.